Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dokkan battle video, and today we are going to do a team building guide for Orange Piccolo. So what I do in these videos is I mainly focus on the new character as the leader. Obviously you can use Orange Piccolo on other teams with other leaders, but for this video I'm going to focus on Piccolo as the leader and what are some of the best teams you can make with him as a leader. And Piccolo's leader skill, I think it has like a decent amount of flexibility, but it's also like constrained enough where I think I can say that there is like one definitive like best build for this guy that I'm really liking right now. So I'm going to show you that, but I'm going to show you some other units and some other things that you can kind of play around with, right? So let's look at his leader skill first to know kind of what we're working with here, right? So primarily we're focusing on superheroes and Battle of Wits. I do like that Battle of Wits is finally getting a full 170 lead. I think previous to this they only had a 150 lead. So I like that we have a proper lead for Battle of Wits. And then superheroes is basically Dragon Ball Super characters that are super class, with some exceptions, right? But very, very good leader skill, right? And then we'll get the full 200 if we're on Movie Heroes or Bond of Master and Disciple. Now, for these team builds, I'm not necessarily focused on getting the full team at a 200% boost, but to have, you know, the main units probably be a 200% boost or be good enough that it doesn't matter that they're only getting the 170, right? So let's take a look. This right here, I think is my overall favorite team build that I'm really liking right now. Now, there's one exception with like Piccolo. I think there's Piccolo and another unit that I would swap back and forth depending on the build, right? But this is pretty basic. What you do is you've got your Orange Piccolo linked up with STR Piccolo, who's a very, very good combination. Unfortunately, they shafted the links a little bit. They should have been at least one link better. They should have had Gaze of Respect together, but instead they decided to give Piccolo some weird links. But they still share 4, and Orange Piccolo 4 is about the best you're going to get out of a unit anyways, and that STR Piccolo is like top tier anyways. So you could run them on rotation, and you're looking very good there, right? So that's going to be a rotation. The other Orange Piccolo, you're going to end up floating him. Because I like running the Gammas as a rotation. The Gammas are just too good as a rotation to like not run as a rotation. Now you could float them because they are floating supports, but let me double check. I want to see if their support depended on, let me just double check here. Yeah, so they are supporting no matter what. I know parts of their passive might depend on having a Gamma 1 or 2, but that part doesn't, so you're good. So you could float them as like a mini support if you wanted to. They're just not as effective when they're not linked together with all those crazy links, right? So I like running the Gammas as a rotation. I think Pan is just like a mainstay, like really good support that you're going to have on this team. And then I have AGL Piccolo. Piccolo, I think, is a unit that has actually aged pretty well. One, he's got dodge in his kit, he supports, and he's got a Ghost Usher. So this guy's actually viable for like red zone content. He was involved in my first Cell Max clear, where on Global you kind of had to cheese it. I ran him without a leader skill and got through Cell Max. So Piccolo is very good. Now the one change that you can make is if you're going against a movie boss or a pure Saiyan, then I would say 100% take out Piccolo for Tech God Goku. And then that combination of pretty much this build with AGL Piccolo or Tech God Goku, to me this is the best build for Piccolo right now on Global. JP might definitely have some more options, but this is the build that I really, really like. Now, of course, my build doesn't include the new Ultimate Gohan. Obviously, the new Ultimate Gohan, you could toss in here and make a rotation with him if you wanted to, and that would be just fine. But I'm kind of liking just this Piccolo Gamma-centric build, and I think this is going to work really well. And this build is going to be a little bit more defensive, right? Because this guy's a defensive god, and I'm thinking like really hard content for this, right? This guy's a defensive god. This guy's a defensive god, right? You've got Ghost Usher here. You've got dodge and really good defense there when she dodges. And then this guy's going to be offensive and actually gets fairly good defensively after attacking a bunch, right? So that there is my favorite build. Now we can look at some other types of builds here that we could do. So this build here, this is just showing some other rotations you could try. So obviously, like, this guy is here, right? So this guy is insane, and this guy's also one of the best units in the game. So obviously, a team build maybe incorporating this guy with Piccolo on the same team definitely would be also very, very good. The only reason I didn't include them on this first team, this team just is set up cohesive, like, to link together really well on these main rotations. And this type of team build, that Trunks and Vegeta would just end up being like a floater, right? Which isn't nearly as effective. Like, you want if you're running Trunks and Vegeta, you probably want to run them in like slot 1 main rotation, right? So on this build, this is a build where we would focus on having Trunks and Vegeta main rotation, and I think they share enough links with the Year 7 LR here that would be a pretty nasty rotation that you could run. So what we would do here is we would run the Trunks and Vegeta, we would run the Year 7 LR, and then we would have, that would be one rotation. The other rotation then would still be Orange Piccolo, and then he shares 3 links with this guy. This is just to show you, hey, if you like this guy and you have him, this is a spot where you potentially could use this Saiyan Saga Goku and Piccolo. They're not bad. So they're not like the highest tier unit or anything. They're not like, this wouldn't be like my #1 recommended rotation, but I'm just showing you another rotation you could try if you have them and you like them. And then once again, just showing you Tech God Goku could be involved on any of these team builds. Once again, you need to be facing pure Saiyans or movie bosses, but if you are, this guy's premium, right? This is a guy you want to run. And then just showing this guy isn't like a premium option, but just another support option you could run. This Vegito is a 30% attack and defense support, right? So now let's look at some other, so what I do on these team building videos too is I also just show like other rotations, other options. So I'm not really showing like full teams here, but basically the general idea, and I've talked about this before in my videos, but the general idea with team building is you think of it as 2 main rotations with your really good offensive/defensive units, and then units that are good floating utility or support units, right? Or sometimes you float something just because you have to, but that's ideally what you want to do, but it's always going to vary on the content. So just keep in mind that, you know, not any one of these team builds is probably going to carry you through every content in the game. You might have to make tweaks, right, based on typing and things like that. So to show you here, there's a lot of these like Realm of Gods type of units that you could use. So if you wanted to make rotations out of these, you certainly could. So obviously like UI Goku's really good still. Evolution Blue Vegeta is still fairly good. So like you could run them as a rotation. You could do Evolution Blue Vegeta with the AGL Blue Vegeta. He's still good enough to run, right? Tech Vegito Blue and STR Vegito Blue. You won't run them as a rotation because they don't link. But they're options you could run in like longer events where you can stack up. Because I believe if you're running an event that's longer where you can stack up, I do think both of those Vegito Blues are actually quite good, right? And then we have to throw this guy on because we are expecting his EZA, and I do expect him to be very good. Now, if he does end up EZAing, you're probably going to want to have a running mate with him, like another blue unit. So I think linking him with like a Vegito Blue could be very good, actually. I think he'd link up pretty good with another Vegito Blue unit. So you might link him up with like Tech VB or STR Vegito Blue here, and that could be another rotation option. So this here isn't really showing any supports, but these are just other units that could link together that technically fit on the team, right? This is just another silly example. This isn't anything I'd recommend, but if you're a Dragon Ball Heroes fanatic, I mean, there actually are quite a few Battle of Wits Dragon Ball Heroes units. So literally you could just have Piccolo like hanging out while you have this other Dragon Ball Heroes team kind of going down. I think you can even run Super Saiyan 4 Vegito if you wanted to as well. Now, I don't actually recommend running this team because if you're going to run heroes, just run heroes. Like you don't need to have Piccolo hanging around, right? But just to show you that there is quite a bit of flexibility within the team, and there's a lot of units you can run. But anyways, guys, and then here's the other thing. Obviously, the new Ultimate Gohan. I don't have him here because I actually haven't pulled him. But yes, Ultimate Gohan definitely could be included on the Piccolo teams. So he could just be a part of your main rotation. So yeah, do not forget about the new Beast Gohan, the new Ultimate Gohan. He's definitely a viable option. But just to me, I think this build right here, it just makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. It makes me feel good. I like it when the team is cohesive, links really well. I've loved the Gammas, and this is just a great build for the Gammas. Now, on a side note, you definitely could run Gammas as the lead because they're movie heroes leads, right? So you could run Gammas as the lead and then still have like basically the same team, right? With a Gamma as the lead. So that's the other thing is depending on like what you want to run, you could pick either Gamma as the lead and have 2 Gammas instead. And if you have 2 Gammas instead, then you've actually got another floating support unit, right? And then Piccolo would just be a one-of with the other Piccolo. That also could be a very, very good team build. The reason why I kind of like this is because I think having 2 Piccolos is kind of godly. Because even if you have that other Piccolo just floating around, you could float into that Piccolo going into his Orange Piccolo Rage mode. And then you've got like 3 turns of Orange Piccolo, and then you can just refloat him back off, which I think is actually pretty nasty. But yeah, having 2 Gamma 1s would be really good, right? I mean, with the movie heroes lead, like, yeah, you can run either Gamma as the lead. So anyways, guys, there you go. Let me know what you think of these team builds. If you need help with your specific team building, you can let me know in the comments, but I do have a Discord with a team building channel, so feel free to hop in if you want to get some help with team building. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.